Here with reaction, Senator Lindsey Graham, the great state of South Carolina. I have a question for Kamala Harris and other Democrats like Patty Murray and many of your colleagues, Senator, and idiots like George Clooney and his wife. What part of murder, rape, kidnapping, torture, beheadings do they not understand? Because this terror attack, if you extrapolate out Israel's population compared to ours, that would be the equivalent of 40,000 dead Americans in a day. What part of that is this wing of her party missing?
You know, that's a really good question. Here's my view on this. Everybody who wants to kill the state of Israel and all the Jews and wipe it off the map wants to kill us too. We're the great Satan. So I don't understand why we would pick a group of people who would actually want to kill us. Now, she's the de facto nominee for the Democratic Party in 2024. This is an astounding bad decision not to appear behind Bibi as Vice President of the United States. This is a signal to Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran that we literally do not have Bibi's back. This is really her first major foreign policy decision, and she's gotten an F. She's so worried about the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party, she cannot sit behind the Prime Minister of Israel, our best ally in the region, one of the best in the world. It's not only despicable, it's really a bad decision. She's thrown gasoline on the cause of Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran by doing this.
I take it a step further. In my view, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, when they would not support Israel's right to win their war against radical Islamic terrorists, Hamas attacked them. Hamas killed their citizens, raped their citizens, beheaded their citizens, kidnapped their citizens. That, to me, is a complete surrender. Joe and Kamala surrendered in the war on terrorism, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, they surrendered to the radical left. Now, this is what you need to understand. I wish everybody in America could watch her show. She's the most liberal senator I've known since I've been in the Senate. She's the most liberal person in the history of America to ever receive a party's nomination for President of the United States. She signed up for the Green New Deal, Medicare for all. There's no liberal horse that she won't ride. So she's picked the radical left Hamas wing of the party. She's afraid to offend them. She's more afraid of them than standing up for our friends in Israel. This is a chillingly bad decision. It empowers the enemies of Israel. It makes America weaker in the eyes of our allies. I cannot tell you, she flunked the first test of trying to be President of the United States by picking the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party, pleasing them more than standing behind the Prime Minister of Israel. This is a chillingly bad decision.
Let me ask you this. I know that Prime Minister Netanyahu will be making his way down to Palm Beach and meeting with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. There's never been a president more supportive of Israel than Donald J. Trump. You know, he moved, obviously, the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. It's proper home. On every single level, he supported them. And I'll even go a step further. I don't think Hamas ever would have attacked Israel. I don't think Iran would have fired missiles into Israel had Donald Trump been president. One thing I can tell you is that, you know, I don't care if it's China, Iran, North Korea, Russia. They never feared Joe Biden. They did fear Donald Trump. They won't fear Kamala Harris. They'll laugh at Kamala Harris because that's what she does half the time anyway. She giggles away, you know, her time. I don't think they'll take her seriously because I don't think she's a serious person.
Well, this decision she made not to appear as vice president behind Bibi when he addresses a joint session of Congress is a very poor decision, reinforcing to the world that she does not have Israel's back. If you give in to aggression, you'll get more of it. The choice between Trump, Vance, and Harris and somebody yet to be named on Israel is clear as night and day. It's also clear on the border, on inflation, on taxes. This is a right track, wrong track election. 70% of Americans believe we're on the wrong track. If you believe that, you're right. If you think Harris is going to get us back on the right track, you're very wrong. She is the face of wrong track policy in America. She is not ready for this job. She's been wrong at every turn about things that matter to you and your family. And what she is about to do tomorrow by not showing up is going to make life much harder for our friends in Israel.
What does it say about the D.C. elites, the Pelosi, the Schumers of the world, the Hakeem Jeffries of the world, D.C. elites, the Nantucket elites, that would be the Obamas, the Hollywood elites, the money elites, the George Clooney's of the world? They have more power over the Democratic Party and the voters that went to the polls during these primaries to vote for Joe Biden. They just get disenfranchised and nobody thinks twice about it?
Yeah, they're afraid of the Hollywood crowd. They're afraid of the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party. Trump and Vance are coming back, and we're going to get the world straightened out pretty quick. To our friends in Israel, help is on the way.
Yeah, help is on the way. And by the way, this little sugar high that the left-wing media is feeling and Democrats are feeling, that's not going to last very long. I can promise you that. All right, coming up, thank you, Senator. New footage from the... Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.